important time for all of us. It's a special moment. And in reflecting on the journey we've been on today, I think there's just a few things that have really stood out for me. This is a special time, and this is a special moment, and we are very strong together. The change that is happening around us right now is not just any kind of change. It's change that really requires us all to step up. Do we have the slide? Can I throw up the slide? There we go. And Chris showed this slide a little bit earlier on, but I think the language of that bus stop of it's time to step up is something we should all be thinking about very deeply right now, okay? And yes, it's stepping up. We in the B Corp community, we have that in our DNA. I think it was Douglas who was talking about this idea of continuous improvement. But it's not just about B Corps, it's about all of us really finding these ways to step up. And I think what we are stepping up to is something that has come across very clearly today, which is the need for systems change. And what I'm really happy to be up here talking to you all about with Chris to close out our day is what we are committing to do at B Lab UK in the spirit of systems change. Because we are going to take things on as it relates to policy. And we are going to look at this climate emergency in the face, and we are going to tackle it head on.
That's right, and you all know this quote from Greta, "Our house is on fire, let's act like it." And I think that's the commitment from B Lab UK, and I think it's the commitment that all of our B Corps have kind of made as well. And in fact, as I think will become apparent as we go on and sort of describe a little bit about what's happening globally from a B Lab perspective and a B Corp movement perspective when it comes to climate, we've been at the forefront of this in the UK. Most of you will have seen, some of you will have read our playbook all about declaring a climate emergency, and that really has been at the heart of the global response here. And so I again want to sort of give the B Corp community in the UK a massive shout out for really placing the UK at the very heart of what the global community is doing here on climate.
And here's what we're going to do. I have been really proud over the last 6 months to be a part of a group with many of our global partners in the B Lab and the Système à Paix movement. And what we have been doing over the last 6 months is coming together in what's being called the CTF, which stands for the Climate Task Force. And over the course of these 6 months, we have had a series of incredibly robust and rigorous discussions to talk about what does the climate emergency mean for us in this B Corp movement. And we're really excited today to share with you a really special sort of piece of news. And Chris is going to share a little bit about what is happening now and where we're going.
So, very briefly, the news is that the B Corp community, so B Lab, as stewards of this movement, will be declaring at COP in December climate emergency and system failure. So, a whoop or something for that, yeah. And this is an acknowledgement not just that we all need to act, but also that it is systems that are at the heart of the problem here, and we need to respond on a systems level. So this is the news, and of course, an important thing to say here is that the community will be coming along with us on this journey. So all of you in the B Corp community, you will be receiving letters and communications about this, and also invited to have your say and input through surveys and obviously by speaking to us on the B Lab team. So between now and December, there's going to be that consultation, but we will be declaring in December.
Yeah, we are. And because we are businesses that appreciate the need to make these declarations, to signal what our intent is, to signal strongly that there is a change needed and we are courageous and we are bold and we are going to go into that change. We do need to make sure that that declaration is paired with actions. So what we have here are a series of things that we are committing to do collectively, again, as a global movement. And they relate to standards, they relate to creating tools and platforms for all of you to take your own form of action as it relates to this climate emergency, and engage really deeply in the system's failure and the need for us to be able to create meaningful policy interventions to address this need for a different operating system. Now, just quickly, we're going to run through those three sort of key areas. Number one, when it relates to the standards, what we're going to do is we are looking at ways to reevaluate what the requirement is to be a B Corp. And we're not going to do that on our own. What we are doing are going to be working together with many of you, with friends, with experts, through what we're calling this public multi-stakeholder engagement process. What will happen then is a series of recommendations are going to be made to the independent B Lab Standards Advisory Council. This is a big deal, guys. This is a really, really big deal, and we're so excited to be able to lean into this conversation. In addition to updating standards, as I said, we want to urge all of you to take action, whether you're a B Corp, on a journey to become a B Corp, or a B Corp supporter. The three things that we have under this sort of taking action are really about providing you, again, with the tools and the resources. So as Chris already said, we've got a how to declare a climate action playbook. We're actually in the process right now of updating that playbook to include global stories, to include more case studies of businesses that are already doing this. And our hope is that this playbook will be also part of the conversation that's going to happen at COP25. So I'd encourage all of you, if you haven't already seen it, to download it and keep your eyes out for this new global version. I'm also going to do a little invitation for anybody who wants to be involved in this process. Please reach out to us, because this only happens when we are able to come together as a community and sort of pool together our wisdom. The second thing that we are really encouraging every single B Corp to do, and business, is to really calculate your baseline emissions right now. Because what we want to really do is help everyone create the right kind of plans to reach really ambitious targets relating to getting to net zero in the window of 2025 to 2050. And as we heard about earlier on, there's the SDG Action Manager, which is a tool that can help you on that journey. The third thing we want to do is make sure that we are providing the spaces and the platforms and the networks for all of you to work together. And not just here in the UK, but to connect with other regions around the world where these conversations are happening. And so what we are forming is what's being called the Climate Collective, which is a global group of community and practice around these really pressing issues.
And the good news, again, for B Corps in the UK is that we have a head start with this Climate Collective. So those of you who, and I know there are lots in the room who contributed to our playbook, are already there in a group of B Corps that we've engaged and have already participated to some degree on this journey. But what we'll be doing in the weeks and the months to come is we'll be coalescing that group and we'll be adding new members, so to make sure that, again, the UK's element to this global climate collective is really strong and ongoing. The idea there is that's going to be a really dynamic and robust sort of digital community that spans the globe and continue to share these resources and best practice and inform all the policy work as well. And that's just the final quick note. I know I spoke a little bit about policy earlier on, and I spoke about how crucial that component is when we're talking about systems change. Now this, while that is a very UK-specific policy picture, and that's how we need to act in many ways on policy, this global issue this climate issue is a truly global issue. And so therefore the B Corp movement will be developing this global advocacy strategy, which is going to be shared publicly in 2020. So again, that's a really important part of what we're doing.
And we've talked a few times about COP25, and just to make sure everyone's clear, this is an annual meeting that happens. This year it's happening in December, and it's happening in Santiago, Chile. We have some really great relationships that are part of this important climate meeting. This year is going to be a really critical set of conversations that are going to happen in Santiago, Chile. One of our family members in the B Corp movement, Gonzalo, who's one of the co-founders of Sistema B, has been appointed the high-level champion of this COP25 meeting. And what he has done is created space as part of that conversation to include the voices of all of those B Corps who really want to signal their leadership, their commitment, and their conviction to tackle the climate emergency head on. So again, if you as a business are willing to commit to net zero by 2030, then we are inviting you to join this delegation virtually. in some cases, maybe physically, to go and be a part of this conversation and signal what we as a collective and what we as a movement are able to do. Again, in the materials that you're going to receive after this event, and which are going to go out to the entire community, there will be a way for you to signal your interest. Please respond to it. Please respond to it quickly, because these meetings in Santiago are happening in just a couple of months/weeks. Great.
And this is an opportunity for us. We're approaching our final few minutes of Be Inspired. And what I thought would be a brilliant thing to do is to get some B Corps up on stage. I have no idea why that is on the screen.
Come on, we all the Earth. The Earth is in the center of it all, right?
Right, there's a call to action here. And there is an email address as well. Good. Anyway, so a great chance to meet some of the leaders from the B Corp community. And so we have primed some of these folks who should be sitting at the end of aisles near the front. And I would love to invite up, there's some stairs over there in the darkness, all of the B Corps who are sitting here who have made these significant commitments on climate, who have declared a climate emergency, or who have committed to net zero. Could I ask you up on stage, please?
Yeah, I think that definitely deserves a hand. Thank you. I'm going to do the high fives all the way down.
Yes. There's more, guys. You have to keep clapping. Amazing. Thank you. So thank you for that applause, and to all of you guys for being amazing. 2 of these stars have agreed to speak for 1 minute each about what it meant to them to declare a climate emergency as their business, and about what that means they can go on and do now as a result. So I'm going to hand over first to Louisa.
Hi. Food production is the biggest contributor to climate change, and yet we're wasting 1/3 of everything that we produce. Toast Ale is here to change that. So we brew beer with surplus fresh bread, and all of our profits go to charity. We've known for a long time that we were heading towards a changing climate, and increasingly towards this climate emergency. I previously worked at the Carbon Trust advising companies on mitigation opportunities for them, and not really seeing action taking place. And so we founded Toast to take positive action, to support systemic changes in the industry, and to demonstrate the business case for businesses that do good. So when we were asked to join this inspiring group of leaders in signing the climate emergency declaration, it was a really easy answer for us. Well, actually, it took a few hours, because Tristram Stewart, our founder, was busy feeding the rebels in Trafalgar Square when we were asked to sign. But it's for us, collaboration is a key part of what Toast is about. And so being part of a community of businesses that all want to raise awareness of the challenges that we face and to take action together is really important. It's united us internally. It's added fuel to a fire for us as employees. It's brought us together with our board as well. And it's enabled us to be confident in being activists as businesses. And so our motto is, to change the world, you have to throw a better party than those destroying it. So here's to change. Cheers.
Thank you, Louisa. I don't know why I'm doing that. And one more, Amy from Tribe Impact Capital.
Thanks, Chris. We're Tribe Impact Capital. We're an asset manager, so we sit right in the heart of the system, in the belly of the beast, as we often like to say. And we set ourselves up right from the word go to hack the operating system, to get to the source of the problem, which is actually the source code, to challenge the investment thesis at large, and to ensure that we could actually repurpose wealth. Recognizing that wealth comes from two old English words, meaning well-being, and somewhere along the way we've lost the well-being in wealth. We invest through the lens of the Sustainable Development Goals. So for us, from the word go, the Paris Climate Agreement was part and parcel of our investment thesis. So declaring a climate emergency for us was actually very, very simple, because we knew that within the investment playbook that we had at large, that we were already investing for 1.5 degrees. But 1.5 degrees is not enough. If you think about yourselves, when your temperature goes up 1.5 degrees, you feel pretty crap. Imagine how the planet feels at 1.5 degrees. So we have to go beyond that. Declaring a climate emergency for us, which we did on September the 11th, was in many ways quite an easy thing to do. We had the data to support it. We knew that our clients would love it, the tribe, as we like to refer to them, and we also knew that we needed to go underweight on carbon and greenhouse gases. Arguably, the financial services system at large has gone short on people and planet and gone long on profit. And it's gone very overweight on carbon and greenhouse gases, so we wanted to flip that around. So declaring a climate emergency was part and parcel of our message to the marketplace. And frankly, if we don't do it as an asset manager, and we're the first asset manager, we think, globally to do this, if we as a benefit corporation and as an impact wealth manager can't do it, how on earth can we expect anyone else to do it?
Thank you, Amy. That's pretty much it. But there's just a few final words. And the first of those is from me. And it's thank yous. And I did some thank yous earlier. These ones are kind of personal thank yous. And the first of which I would like to give to Shah, who is hiding somewhere. There she is. Shah has been something of a kind of guide for me and mentor since I joined B Lab, which was only at the beginning of the year. So as well as it being a huge help in organising this event, I want to just give a special thank you to Shah for steering me to this point. And then on a similar theme, can I please get the B Lab UK team on the stage? So these guys are incredible. So I get to work with them every day. Lots of you get to talk to them almost every day. I've never met a team of people who work so hard, yeah, they are the engine that drives the community, which is the engine that drives this movement. So none of us would be here without these people. So a massive thank you to all four of them for being incredible. And then an extra thank you to these three, sorry James, these three, who are the core team behind Be Inspired. And so they have put in countless hours into making this happen. Everything from the different coloured lanyards around your necks, to the delicious food, to all of the timing of all of this stuff, to the amazing sort of curation of this agenda that's kind of led us up and down through kind of emotion and knowledge. So these three, and to the extended event team, Simon and Nick, are in the thick of things back there as well still. So massive thank you to the Be Inspired team.